Hey, what's up? This is Silenoz from DIMMU BORGIR.
And Shagrath.
And you're listening to and watching Linea Rock.
Hi guys!
Hey, what's up?
Welcome DIMMU BORGIR to Milan and welcome to Linea Rock.
Thank you
so much. It's good to be here.
Good to have you again in our studios. Actually, you're here presenting a new album which is about to come out. And actually, last year you released a DVD which was called Forces of the Northern Night. But it's been 7 years since the last studio album. So it's been finally the magic spell, let's say, will break in May, on May 4th, 2018, with the new album, which is called Eonian. But this is actually the longest gap in between two album releases in 25 years DIMMU BORGIR career. What happened in the last, let's say, 7-8 years? Why did it take so long? And was it a longer process this time than, ever?
I guess we kind of needed... Things has been going really fast for this band for so many years. And it was important for us to step back a little bit, put on the brakes and reflect a little bit, because it's always been busy doing stuff. And, we haven't been lazy, but we can understand it from a fan perspective that it might seem like a very long time, but we did play shows up until 2014, and we've never been a band who are really creative while we are doing a tour or focusing on the live shows. So there you go, we have 4 years.
Yeah, and then we've been basically busy behind the scenes in a way.
Okay.
We kept a low profile on purpose, I guess you can say. So, and then of course we had some delays with the Forces of the Northern Night DVD, which should have been out way earlier too. But I think once we started working on this album, we felt that, okay, this just have to take the time it needs to finish, basically.
Yeah, it was important for us, and I think that because we did not have deadlines for this new record, we kind of just made sure we did a good pre-production work and really prepared before we went in the studio. And because we did that, I think the result kind of speak for itself. We are very pleased with the result of this record, and I think that has a lot to do that we took the time, to complete it without any rush.
It was in a sense planned to take, a break and to work,
we always take a break time after each album cycle.
But not so long.
Not so long. This is a new record for us. But no, as I say, we spent the time really well, and we worked really detailed on this album in the pre-production stage. And I think the fans, of course, they are impatient, which I totally understand. I would be too, and we have been impatient too to get it out there, of course. But I think once they hear the result, they will probably, and they get to live with the album, they probably will, forgive us for the time that we've been away.
When did you start exactly, to compose the songs and to focus on a new record?
Yeah, I think it started us taking a mountain trip up to a cabin. We had like a weekend meeting, so to speak, and then we decided to, okay, let's move forward and actually start working hard on this. We've always been like, making music separately, just riff ideas that's been floating around, and then, you pick it up later and glue it together somehow. But I think is that approximately
3 years,
3 years ago?
3-4 years
wow.
ago.
Yeah, so, and the DIMMU BORGIR's music is something that it takes time to complete each song. It's very sophisticated work, and we're trying to renew ourselves for each time we release an album, because we don't want to be too repetitive to what we have done in the past, So therefore, it takes time to make this type of music.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of details, both lyrically and musically. So it's
And also the cover artwork of the album
very
is very
detailed.
sophisticated and detailed.
and
So
that's
is
also something that came.
Okay.
You know, we focused so hard on the record, and then sometimes in the past we're kind of multitasking several things. But then it took a while to get the cover done, also to get the new costumes done, to get the layout and the pictures, and then it kind of drags out, and then you have.
Time flies.
Yeah, other obligations in life. You know, we are parents, have more children, things. So it's kind of finding that balance in life of being a musician, but also, you know, doing other stuff. And we spend a little time separate to do some shows with our side projects.
Sure.
and doing other stuff also. You know.
Back on the cover, which is very, very good and very particular. Did you work on the concept yourselves? And in which way it is connected to the content of the record, to maybe the lyrics or also?
Yeah, of course,
songs?
it connects to everything: the music, the lyrical themes, and we gave the artist a lot of information, which he at one point just like, "Oh, stop! I have enough to work with." So
he wanted to take it in his own approach it in a different way. So too much information.
I think it has it represents, you know, something primitive and primal, but also very detailed, and it has this maybe this old wood carving feel. It has an esoteric feel, so it's very representative for where the band is at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sound-wise, the symphonic approach seems even more and more predominant this time. Can we define the new album as symphonic evil, maybe? And how would you describe and introduce, you know, sound-wise, Eonian to the fans?
I think that when it comes to the orchestral arrangements on this record, I think it's actually less than we had on the previous record.
I think so too.
That's the feeling I have anyway. I think we focused a little bit more on building song structures based on guitars on this record more than we did on the previous record.
Okay, so you think you're taking a step back on that?
Yeah, a little bit. And we didn't include a full orchestra because now we're using like... I think Forces of the Northern Night was a kind of a closing chapter for that orchestration world. Of course, we keep elements of orchestrations on the new record as well, but it's more samplings and keyboards and stuff like that. So, and we blend it in with different styles of music and our inspiration sources, and
and comes out of our meat grinder, and that's our expression.
Get the DIMMU signature on it. Yeah.
But, you know, getting more progressive, because that's what I got, you know, since the last 15 years, 18 years, you're always growing a lot and changing a lot. Maybe with the risk, you know, of losing some of the old fans.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But,
Lose some and gain some.
How would you describe what, you know, exactly happened to the band? Was that a natural evolution, you know, from the black metal origins, or simply, you know, maybe it was conceived in a sense, or maybe not? How did it go?
I think if you go into the layers of this album, if you listen to it and live with it for a while, you will notice that there's a lot of links back to the past of the band, and also from the genre that we came from.
Okay.
So
I think Eonian sums up the history of the band. It has so many elements. If you look at the back catalog, you can find, and if you know the back catalog, you will understand it if you take the time to listen to this new record.
it needs your patience, and maybe it needs for some people who need 8 years to get into it, you know.
Wow. So
I don't know, we spent 8 years, so.
But it's important for us to every time that we are in the creative process and release an album, that we we don't want to be too repetitive. It's to grow is important as an artist, and we're never been afraid of exploring new territories, new sounds. We don't work within these boundaries of so-called primitive black metal. We are quite different from many other bands, and I'm really proud of that. You know, you lose some and you gain some people, and it's everyone has their maybe their own favorite area of the band. Some people like just the 2 first albums, and some people just like Puritanical and Death Cult, and then they all have different opinions. But looking back at it, it makes me proud that you can see that the band has grown a lot since 1993. And that's the way I want to make music, to grow, and not to be just play in the safe zone and do a repetition of yourself. It wouldn't make sense, So some people like that, some people hate that, you know. And if you don't like it, just listen to something else. It's quite simple.
And actually, as you mentioned, this album in some way sums up DIMMU BORGIR career. And actually, this is the 10th album, and it comes, out celebrating the 25th anniversary of the band. Did you feel it while you were, recording it or composing it during the making, or it was, really conceived simply as a new album and you didn't, mind of the fact that it's 25 years?
Yeah, I guess when we write music, we don't really think in limiting terms, as it said, and we just try and go with the flow. And the good thing about our career is that every evolution has been a natural step. That's probably a cliche to say, but it's true. And that's something that we cannot really control. It is what it is, comes out the way it is. And 25 years sounds like a long time. It doesn't feel that long, but it's quite a...
And it's also, I could, talking on, for myself at least, when we decided to work on this record, I did feel some kind of pressure in the beginning, when we start off with a blank page,
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel the demons crawling on your shoulders. It's like, some kind of pressure feeling in the beginning. But
and it was the first time for you?
Yeah, but no, not the first time.
Okay.
We're making it complicated for ourselves because I want to do something better than we have done before and learn from the previous mistakes, blah blah blah. And but I think after we had the first song down, which went quite smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
Which was the first one?
The first one we completed together was Archaic.
Yeah, I think it was Archaic. Yeah.
Okay.
Track number 8 on the album, if I'm correct.
With ideas from 2012, 2013, but we completed it like some years ago.
So after
that song was born, it was kind of easier to let loose and just feel. You have to feel a certain confidence in what you're doing, and because you can't really make music after people's opinion. You have to. It has to be something that comes from within yourself. So we shut off the world and continue working, and Snakker jeg for mye nå?
Nei, det er bra.
Council of Wolves and Snakes sounds like a very experimental song in the DIMMU BORGIR camp. What's the story behind this song in particular, and did you actually compose it as a band, or was an idea of you, Shagrath, or you, Silenoz?
I mean, it's the core trio writing of us that, it started with a simple guitar idea, and then it just basically wrote itself in a way. It just had a natural flow.
It's like throwing ball to each other, playing back and forth, and I think we set the standard for that song when after the first guitar riff idea, and then we added a layer of what is it called, rhythmic
percussion type of stuff,
and it set the standard for the song, and then we kind of build it from there on, into something.
It is, as you say, it's quite unexpected within the DIMMU realm, and that's it feels really great because it just came so naturally, and then it's a great statement that we can actually do more unexpected stuff.
It's a good example that we are not afraid of trying out new stuff,
things.
And you're not the first person to mention this song, so this is kind of interesting actually to hear people's opinion about that.
So goal reached actually,
Yeah.
if you wanted to impress people, you know.
Well, the goal was reached when we sent the master to the label. That's when it was a success for us, because if you don't believe that you can do a great record, I mean, time will tell if it's our best record, but if you don't have the belief system in that you can do better than last time, then there's no point making a new record.
I think I can speak for the both of us that for us it's already a success in the way that or for all of us who have been a part of this record, you know, we can look at each other and smile and think back, okay, this was really hard, intense work, but for us it's already a success in the way that we are happy with the result, and then the rest, if
anything
it's positive,
else is bonus.
basically after that, you know.
Very impressive and strong is once again the choir that you use. Why this choice, and how did it fit the new music in your vision, you know, before, you know, decided to have it?
It was a very complicated process to involve a big choir and to arrange where they're supposed to sing, how long they were supposed to drag out the words. We're making it very complicated for
ourselves. What's the correct name of the choir? It's
Schola Cantrum.
Okay. Cantrum, yeah.
And I think we kept in touch with some of these choir people since we did that Spectrum show in Oslo, and choir has also been a big part of our live shows, using tracks for choirs and stuff. So it felt really kind of natural to add a choir to this record, and it adds to an extra dimension to that to reach that filmatic type of feeling in the music, you know.
Yeah.
It's also a typical ingredient in symphonic black metal is choir and strings too. So, and when you have the opportunity to work with a real choir, of course you will go for that, you know, instead of using plastic keyboards. So it's a lot of choir on this record, but for a reason, you know.
And they don't only do the they actually sing quite a lot of lyrics, and that he made the demos for them to show them how to do the phrasing and the
and then we have Gaute Storås, which is kind of the extra DIMMU member, so to speak. He's our because they have a different way of reading music than we do. So
of course, yeah.
So he's kind of the mediator or the
transcriber of our ideas. So he puts it down in notes.
Transform our ideas into sheets, basically, and then the choir rehearse by themselves with the sheets. So it was quite interesting process.
Which was their reaction when you very first called them, you know, to be part of your music? And because
they
sounds strange.
They knew about us.
We had worked with them before, but they also have, different people coming in and out of the choirs all the time.
Yes, I'm talking about
the very first time. Yeah. Some of them had heard about us, and and they also have been working with Cork, the orchestra, before. So and the people in the Cork orchestra knew about us too. So they were like, okay, this sounds like a cool thing, you know. So and they approached us. The orchestra approached us, not the other way around.
Yeah, I think they're excited about working with a completely different band that they are used to doing it in their world. So I could see a lot of reactions from the Spectrum show, the Wacken show, and also the recording of the choir for this record, that they're very excited about this, So
doing something different. Some more challenging stuff, I guess.
Do you approach composing and recording any differently after 25 years? Technology actually developed very quick in the last few years, and also your music became more complex. You've been growing, so do you have maybe any kind of things that you do all the time, or actually you change with your music also, working on it?
We adapt to today's technology as well, of course. Back in '93 we had an old tape recorder.
Yes.
Where we pushed the record when we had something.
Boombox.
Do you think it's easier or actually more difficult now?
Both yes and no. Yes, because it makes it quicker to put things together, but also when you get older and you get more experience, you also get more critical towards what you do. So it's about, since we are our own producers, we also need to step out of our bubble and look upon things objectively, and that's a very huge challenge.
Yeah.
It was a different way of recording, looking back at, for example, the albums we did on a studio roll, the old way of recording. When I look back at it now, it's like, I start to think like, how were we able to do that without looking at the song on a screen?
Right, yeah.
Because that's what you do today, so... but it's technology is better. At least I try to keep myself updated about, because I'm a kind of a studio geek myself. Okay. I'm very interested in this type of developments. But it's also, you have to be very rich to have the newest of the newest, because if you buy something great, it could be samplings or it could be plugins or whatever, computers, or after 6 months it's already outdated. Yes. That's the problem in this new world. So it has advantages and disadvantages.
And then we actually, on some of the songs we use, we did the total opposite. We used some of the keyboards we used in the 90s.
Okay.
So you can actually recognize some of those sounds that we did on Enthroned and Spiritual, so. You
also changed producer this time. So...
changed a lot of things this time.
Yes.
Everything from scratch.
You have a newborn feeling. Actually, it's like, starting back again, but with a 25 years experience.
I look upon this new album as another pillar in our catalog. Like Enthroned Darkness Triumphant was a huge one, Death Called Armageddon was a huge one, and this is also going to be a huge one. We think anyway, and that's how we feel. So, when we approached the more technical side to this album and choosing engineer, co-producer, studio, whatever you want to call it, that's of course something in the past that we haven't really always agreed upon, but this time we were like, let's go for this. This feels like the right choice, and I feel we accomplished our revision pretty well. Very good, actually.
Yeah. So. We did a lot of things differently this time, with not just using a different studio, but also different guy for front cover, layouts, and we did a lot of changes.
Everything is new.
We didn't want to step in the old... same old pattern as before, and I think that was important for this record and the result of this record. So
And who's in charge for the image and the costumes, and who's the guy that's more into it in the band?
Well, it's based on our ideas with the color themes and some of the details too. So that's also something new that we wanted to do with this album. On the previous one, we went for a more white-gray theme, and that was something very unexpected for many fans, I guess. But that was very fitting for that album, and now it's a new thing again, and that's how we like to approach it, do new stuff.
And how is it new now? I mean, can you tell us more about it?
No, it is what it is when you see it. It's supposed to go along with some of the color themes of the album, and
The look has always been important, That's also for us growing up with bands that had a strong image, and then we kind of
like Kiss, for example.
Take inspiration from that, and you kind of carve it into something of your own, and the music and the visuals has to complement each other somehow. That is extremely important, at least for me. All this stuff is also things that takes time to create, and to try and you want to kind of renew yourself a little bit for each time you have an album as well.
And considering the lyrics, do they come after or before, or it depends? How do you work on that? And how they are they connected? Is it a kind of concept some way or not?
It's not really a concept album, but if you want to look for a concept, you'll find it.
Okay, that's interesting.
No, I had most of the lyrics, probably like 14, 15 different sets of lyrics before we had the first song finalized with music. So this time I spent a lot of myself writing it, a lot of hours, and and pain has gone into it. But the result I'm really happy about, and it fits the music really well. It complements the music well because it's a detailed musical work, and the cover artwork is detailed.
Yeah.
The lyrics are detailed, and the words in the lyrics will mean something different for you than it is for me, and that's why we decided not to talk too much about it, because we want people to use their imagination, their wonder, and
But maybe,
and it's hard to explain art also. It's a way of.
But can you tell us just maybe which was the spark of inspiration these times? Just that.
The inspiration has come and go, and but I feel like both on the lyrical side, also on the musical side, that we have been really good at taking advantage of the inspiration when it's been there,
Okay. Looking back to DIMMU BORGIR career since the early days and over the last 25 years, which was the best moment so far for you as a band, and also for you guys personally, of course, about the band?
It's
the best.
It's a long history, so it's hard to choose certain things. But if you have to mention something, at least, for me personally, the Spectrum show was coming together. That was a totally unique feeling, and
it was kind of like coming full circle, because it's been a dream to be able to perform with a real orchestra and a real choir, since our music has pretty much the whole time been very close to that orchestral, symphonic, melodic thing. So
you can only imagine, if you sit in your home and create something, if it's a keyboard or a guitar, or whatever, let's say keyboard, some kind of elements, and then you see it later in a bigger setting. That's the power of music, It's a very special moment on something that you have been working with in your little studio at home, maybe on a keyboard, and you see 100 people performing
that small little
what
seed
you made at home. That was a very special, for me at least, a very special moment. Also, when we did that show, that was very emotional.
Spectacular,
so to speak.
Yeah.
So that's something.
There's tons of stories, but that's probably one that sticks out the most for us.
And you guys are the only original members of DIMMU BORGIR staying in the band. What's the secret behind your magic partnership?
Sacrifice all over again, and more. I think that's the key for longevity for any band out there. That's probably also why we have changed members in the past, because we are ready to sacrifice anything to be able to do this, and maybe that's not the way it is for others. So,
and we never had a plan B. A lot of musicians today, they do have a plan B, because it's really rough to be a musician. It's not really it's you're going through rough times, and but we never had that plan B, and I think if we would have that plan B, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. So that's probably one key word, important word. And of course, it hasn't been easy for us either. We can't put that under the table, because we are different personalities and have our differences, but we still manage to stay together.
Has always been our strength, because since we are very different as people, we still have a lot of stuff in common, which combines in the music. And we have...
That's where kind of the magic happens, so to speak, and that's something hard to describe also.
So we try and describe it with the music. That's how we want to do it.
So you are the core, the soul, the force behind the
and I think, my weaknesses is sometimes his strength, and the opposite, so it kind of feels...
You complete each other.
Yeah, we complete each other on different things, which kind of works. And what is... maybe a little bit strange is that we are actually very old school when it comes to music, listening to whatever kind of genre it is. It's mostly like old stuff, also within the black metal universe as well.
So
but when we create something together, we somehow manage to end up with something different. It's not like we're copying our favorite bands,
Okay.
and that's some kind of magical. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you actually talked about sacrifice, and you changed a lot of bass players. So that's because they are not open to sacrifice.
Could be, but it's very challenging at points, in our career, and we have been the ones that have been soldiering through the whole time, and it's not for everybody. It's not easy to combine this with family life and others' interests. Where other people or other previous members have maybe gone to the movies with their girlfriends, we had gone to rehearsal place, and that's the main difference.
But also the musical side is just a small percentage of it, because we are a live band who perform shows, which means we also spend a lot of time together while we are on tour. We're living close to each other, and so being good musicians is just a small percentage. You have to get along with your traveling family on the road, so to speak, and respect each other and stuff like that, and that can be challenging,
And
after years of touring. And
This is not something you figure out the first week of rehearsal with a new person in the band. That's something that you get to know after maybe years.
We never liked to change members either, but sometimes it has been a necessity for us to continue this road further, So we do it for a reason, and I don't think everybody can understand that, but it's
Yeah, we do it because we want to, not because we have to.
Okay, that's a good point. Concerning touring, of course, this will be the next step. Are you already planning a tour? Will it be a worldwide tour? Will it be just big events, maybe again with the orchestra, or you will keep it, smaller and do, extensive touring with, maybe smaller places? What's in the plans?
We do, of course, plan a full world tour. How long it lasts, that we don't know. But right now, our plan is to just not do it with an orchestra or choir. We have kind of put that behind us for now, but for the future, we never say never, But we're going to probably start this year with a few festivals in the summer, and then the real touring starts in the fall. So, and next year again as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Good. Last question. Do you think that the Norwegian, or actually the whole Northern Europe metal scenes change around with or due to DIMMU BORGIR? Do you consider yourself somehow, pioneers or prophets in your homeland?
More like outcasts, maybe, within the genre.
Yeah. We have definitely been a band that has helped open doors for other bands and maybe more brutal bands to get recognition, because, it seems like quite a lot of people look at us as some type of gateway to other extreme forms of music, and it's always flattering to know that you have several tribute bands. That's really weird, but still cool, So that means that we have at least done something right.
And black metal had a lot of one-dimensional rules back in the early 90s, and I think we
were all about breaking them.
We were all about breaking those rules, and then later, as he said, I think we opened a lot of doors for other bands to come out of their shell, so to speak, So that's something. Yeah.
That's good. That's also a big responsibility, because you're always a step ahead.
True.
And you have to keep it,
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks very much, guys, for your time, and all the best for whatever is coming, and for the new album, and hope to see you soon back to Italy live.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Ciao.
Ciao.